Welcome to the Smeagol's house. Today we will review a new subject, a new video, a new subject. The most famous conflict between elves. As we all know, elves seem wise and calm most of the time. But when it comes to family heirlooms, it is hardly the case. They can be ruthless and unusually aggressive. The darkness inside of them can be as strong as the light. And in this video, we will talk about the biggest conflicts the elves have had between themselves. And there were 3 wars taken place as a result. The kinslaying in Middle-earth is our subject for that video. The 3 wars. The House of Fëanor fought against the other elves to obtain the Silmarils. Welcome to the darkest hour of Elven society. As I said before, kinslaying is our main subject. Elves fight elves. The most famous conflict between them. The first kinslaying was the first slaying of elf by elf in the elven realm of Aqualande. This was also called kinslaying at Aqualande. The second kinslaying was the attack on Doriath by the sons of Fëanor. This also called second sack of the Doriath. And the third and the final kinslaying was the attack of the havens of Sirion by the sons of Fëanor. We will review consequences, motivations, and the characters of those events. Let's begin the video. The first kinslaying between elves called kinslaying at Aqualande. The event based on when Fëanor intended to leave Valinor, he needed some ships to get to Middle-earth. At that time, there are no ships available for Noldorin society, so they need to convince Teleri elves for those ships. If you want to see the whole story in detail, you can look at the Quenta Silmarillion chapter 9 of the flight of the Noldor. The whole story goes there with details, maybe more than I can say. Noldorin elves led by the Fëanor and his sons tried to convince or persuade the Teleri elves of Aqualande. However, those elves, the Teleri elves, did not want to do any favor without Valar's will. So they refused Fëanor. But Fëanor did not accept no as an answer. On the other hand, Teleri elves attempted to convince the Noldor to stay with the other elves in Aman. And after some attempts to try to capture the ships from the Noldor, the Teleri elves angered, and they threatened the Noldor with their bows and rocks. Correspondingly, the Noldor drew their swords and there began a war, maybe a fight. In the beginning, the fight seemed equal. Both sides had their weapons and manpower, but when the second host of Noldor, led by the Fingon, arrived the battlefield, things began to change. Second host of Noldor misunderstood the situation They thought that Teleri elves attacked Noldor by the will of the Valar, so they joined the fight. As a result, many of the Teleri elves were slain, their ships captured, and the king of Sindar, Thingol, cursed the ones who took place in this event, and also forbade the usage of Quenya in his domain. And this was the end of the first kinslaying between elves. It's time to review the second kinslaying, Second Sack of Doriath. If you want to read the whole story in details, Quenta Silmarillion chapter 22 of Reign of Doriath. You can see the whole story in details there. This was the second kinslaying, or this is the second kinslaying. This was an attack on Doriath, an elven realm ruled by the King Thingol. At that time, Dior, the grandson of Thingol, inherited the Silmaril from his father Beren, and sons of Fëanor demanded their precious jewel from him. Their demand was surely unaccepted, and they assembled an army to attack Doriath and capture the Silmaril by force. The sons of Fëanor came upon the realm in the middle of winter of the first stage, 506th year, and they fought with the elves of Doriath in the Thousand Caves. As a result of the battle, Doriath elves lost, and nearly all of them were slain. But before Dior Eloquil, the grandson of Thingol, fell, he managed to kill Celagorm, one of the sons of Fëanor. Also, Caranthir and Curufin were also killed during the battle. But Dior's wife, Nimlot, also killed in this second slaying. Their twin sons, Eluret and Elurin, were taken out into the woods by the Celagorm's servants to left there to die. But this action disturbed Maedhros, the elder son of Fëanor. He tried to find the twins in the woods, but he could not manage. And when they left in the woods to die, those twins spent only 9 years in the Middle-earth. In the end, Elven Kingdom of Doriath fell because of this event. And despite the victory, sons of Fëanor did not recover the Silmaril because Dior and Nimlot's daughter, Elwing, mother of Elrond and Elros, escaped with the jewel. Now it's time for the final kinslaying, the third one. If you want to read the whole story, Quenta Silmarillion chapter 24 of the voyage of Eärendil and the war of Wrath. There goes the whole story in details. The third kinslaying, attack on Havens of Sirion. This is the final act by sons of Fëanor. When Maedhros and Maglor heard that Elwing survived the fall of Doriath and kept Silmaril in Havens of Sirion, they again assembled an army to attack the Havens, and they tried to capture the jewel. In the first age, 538 year, Sons of Fëanor attacked havens. They destroyed all the havens and they destroyed the survivors of Doriath. All of them were slain. The only survivors of the battle was Elwing and his two sons, Elros and Elrond. Elwing escaped by the help of Ulmo. As we all know, he is the Ainu who controls the oceans of Arda. But her sons were captured by Maedhros and Maglor. However, her sons were captured by the sons of Fëanor. Maglor and Maedhros spared their lives, and Maglor raised them and treated them almost as if they were his own. And also Amras, one of sons of Fëanor, died in this battle, and in the end, with the death of Amras, Maedhros and Maglor were the only remaining sons of Fëanor, and they also lost most of their followers in this battle. In the result, or as a result of those kinslayings by the sons of Fëanor, Eonwe, the herald of Manwe, announced that because of their evil manners, sons of Fëanor lost their rights about the Silmarils. And this is the end of kinslaying, the fight or the battles between elves and elves. This is the end of another video. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like my videos. Please write some comments, make me feel proud. It can be negative or positive, it does not matter. All will be welcome in Smeagol's house. See you at another video. Nalu e Goanadwin, Saolas Alalait. Alamene. Bye bye.